Are we
Yo.
on? Does it work?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, man. I feel like an old man. I'm like, how does this work? What are we doing?
Oh, man, trust me.
Terrible technology.
Oh, trust me, man. It was the same when I started this, like, on Monday. I was, like, messaging my friend Gaia since she was the first guest I had. And I was like, because she's done these before. I'm like, how do I do this? Ah!
Hey, Matt's here. Jasmine's here. What's up? Hops and Box.
Oh, yeah, from TikTok. Yeah.
Shout out, Matt.
Oh, man, already getting, so I noticed already we got Cryptopsy and we got Car Chaos here. I'm a little bit intimidated, to be honest.
Wait, if whoever from Car Chaos is there, if you're listening, who are you? Which person from Car Chaos?
Put it in the comments.
It's Justine.
Hey, Jasmine, how's it going? Yeah, no, I just saw that it was before you joined. The first one that came up was Car Chaos. I'm like, who is it? Be shirtless.
I'm way too hairy for that now.
Nah. Sweet. So, I guess to start things off, man, how you been? Like, during this whole freaking worldwide shit show, how you been, dude?
Yeah, this situation that we're in.
Yeah, the situation.
I've been incredibly busy. Honestly, like nothing stopped for me. It's because I work in home renovations, and like so that's like an essential service and whatnot. So like we got busier. So so like my normal 9 to 5 life like hasn't changed at all, you know. And I say that and I obviously have to. You know, I have to accept I'm like I'm extremely lucky in that regard because so many people I'm grateful that like I was able to kind of continue and live and have a somewhat of a normal life like during this craziness, you know.
Yeah, dude, isn't it you and your brother who work together, or was that like
Don't you say that again? Sorry.
Don't you and Dave work together? You and your brother?
Yeah, we work because like our one of our best friends, like our childhood friends, Ben, like he's the one that got us into that gig. So
okay.
We've been with the company. I've been with the company for about 2 years now, and he's been in about a year and a half or so.
Yeah.
And my brother's an actually experienced carpenter. Yeah, my brother like went to school for carpentry. So and I kind of just.
Yeah. So it's great to hear that you have been working well because like it's over here in Ottawa. I'm actually streaming right now from my work. Actually, from if you can see behind me, I'm sitting on a drum set right now. Actually.
Do you work at a rehearsal space?
Yeah, my family owns one actually.
Oh no way! That's amazing. Shit.
Yeah, we own this place. So the whole COVID small businesses thing has really hit home for us, you know. And we're one of the few businesses in Ottawa that's music related. That's been extremely lucky with that whole thing. So like we haven't really had any financial problems thankfully, but you know, it still sucks, you know. So many businesses and venues here have been closing and all that. I mean,
that's it. Like when you're working anywhere around the periphery of the entertainment business at this point, like you're so fucking, you know. And like I feel for everybody that was all the live crews, the bars, the venues, the production managers, production teams. It's insane. And like right before COVID, I was working for Eventco, which is like the big production company here in Montreal that puts on like heavy MTL, and I was they brought me on as a production manager about a year earlier, and I was actually getting ready to make that like my full-time job. Like I was like in another couple of months, and I was about ready to transition, and then you know I was sitting and everything got
Yeah, I actually do remember that because like one of the last shows I remember going to before COVID was I remember seeing you at the front at Demons and Wizards. And you were working.
Was I working security at that show, or was I? Because I do security at shows too. Yeah.
I think you were. I remember just walking in and seeing you at the front, sitting at like a desk or something. I was like, "Yo, man."
Okay. No, it's because my friend Michelle, the owner of one of the co-owners of Turbo, she actually, so she's promotion manager for Eventco as well, and she's the one that got me the Eventco job, or she's the one that made the introduction. So she was so like so on top of doing like being a production manager, like she would give me jobs like, hey, you want to come do door and like make a little extra cash here, and then on the side of that, I also am a security agent that hires for most of their venues. So sometimes I'm like doing security. So like I'm around. I'm like I'm around that community like in so many different facets.
Oh yeah. So I guess a good way to start off, I guess, would be also, by the way, I just saw in the comments it was Justine from Car Chaos who's watching.
Yeah. Love you, Juice. Haven't seen you. I mean, it's feeling like I haven't seen you in forever. I hope she's still on. I don't know.
Well, that actually is a good segue into what I was gonna want to, I guess, to talk about. The core of the conversation would be, what have you been doing anything musically recently? Has Blackguard been doing anything musically recently? Any new material you've been working on or anything?
No, not really. I mean, in the midst of like when the pandemic started, like we were getting ready to start doing more shows. Like we had done we had done the show like on what was like January 3rd or something like that. We did that one-off gig with Epica and the Agonist right before they were going on the boat.
Yeah.
And we were a bunch of shows for the summertime, and we had an Ontario festival, like the Farm Fest in Ontario, that was booked up, and we were lined up we were starting to line up other shows, and then obviously life happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in terms of like Blackguard doing stuff, like no, not really. We were just kind of like we haven't been writing. That wasn't like writing new material wasn't really on anybody's radar. Even though like now probably would have been a great time to do it.
Oh yeah.
But, I mean, Justine's like super busy with a bunch of other like some of her projects, and like I don't know if she was writing with Card Chaos or getting stuff ready for them, but Juice has got 50 million things going on with her. So Blackguard, fuck man, after like 5 years of being on hiatus, getting ready to get back on the wagon, everything gets derailed.
Yeah, I know.
So,
and, yeah, it's funny because that festival that you guys were on with us, the Farm Fest, we were actually supposed to open for you like on that day, on like I think like almost right before you guys.
Oh man, that would have been so much fun.
Well, it's because the thing is the promoter of that show, Steven, he actually met. I was so excited for that show because we did the Farm Fest the year previous, but we were like a really like last minute, like someone dropped out at the last minute, and I kind of got on the bandwagon for that show really late because I only found out about it like a month before it happened, and the guy's like, "Oh, I can have you guys on, but it's on like the small stage because it's last minute." I said, "Oh, sure, whatever," and the show itself was all right, but I remember the year after he messages me saying, "Hey, one of the biggest complaints that I got was there wasn't enough variety. Like, aside from us and maybe like one or two other bands, it was all either death metal or core, or like metalcore, deathcore." And yeah, and he actually messaged me saying, "Hey, I want to get more melodic bands this year. Who do you recommend?" And I sent him a big list of like some of the bands from Ottawa and some of the bands from Montreal and some from Toronto. And he also was having a hard time finding a headliner because he wanted Agonist, but I think for whatever reason they couldn't do it. So I remember telling him, get Blackguard and Crimson Shadows. That'd be sweet. And he ended up doing it. So I think not to toot my own horn, but I think that was my doing that you guys and Shadows were on there because I thought, well, what are two bands that are like headliner status who are still melodic and heavy and people will really like?
Yeah.
Both of you guys. So yeah.
Yeah,
well,
I was really looking forward to that show, and especially because there were so many friends bands that were on that gig. So like you guys were on it, Crimson Shadows was on it. I'm trying to think of either. I think Car Chaos was on it, or
I don't remember. They might have been.
There was a couple of other friends bands that were on that gig, so it would have been a fun time just to go and hang out with everybody.
Oh yeah. It would have been great. And I was really disappointed too when he told me that, like, because the other one, as I said, he was trying to get, because he told me the plan was for one day, since it was 2 days, the first day would have been all the melodic bands, so like all the bands that aren't core. And then the next day were all the metalcore and deathcore bands and all that. So I think we were all on the same day, and I was really disappointed because he was saying that he almost got Agonist, and they're like a band I've like got into really heavy recently. Like I never listened to them before this. So when he told me that he like that couldn't do it, I was like, oh shit.
Man, that would have been amazing if they could have played too, because they're really old friends of ours also. So like that's what I love about doing shows these days, is more like meeting up with everybody that I haven't seen in so long, you know, or getting to play shows with friends' bands again. I mean, that was part of the appeal of doing it. Was not only was it Epica, obviously, like being a huge band, but it's like, oh well, they invited us to do that gig, and it's like, and then when we found out that Agonists were on it too, it's like, man, it's like we're on tour again, like, you know, back in 2012 kind of thing. So because we all three of us had toured together, so it was great. It was a big reunion for us, anyways, because we had been off the road for so long, and it's great to go and hang out with everybody. And granted, when they do come to town, it's cool. We get to see them. We hang out. You know, and it's better and more fun when, you know, it's like we're not just spectators, we're actually part of the production again. So
so well, I guess elaborate on that bit, because that Epica show, I didn't make it, sadly. I really wanted to, but for whatever reason I didn't, and that looked amazing, that show. Like was it a sold out crowd, or it was
sold out.
Yeah, it was like sold out. You guys and Agonist at Epica, like that just seemed like a amazing show. Like, so tell us what was it like to be back on stage, especially for a show that big after God knows how long? Because I think the only show, if I remember rightly, the only show you guys did before that was in Toronto, right? With Crimson Shadows, I think. Yeah. So what was it like getting back on that huge magnitude of a show, and obviously playing with one of the most like popular bands in metal currently? And what was that like?
It was really intimidating for me, because like I've kind of developed like a lot of performance anxiety in the last couple of years. So it's like, so I was really feeling it. And you know, actually, so the funny story, like I think if I remember correctly, like the Agonist cats got in a little bit late, because I think I don't know if they flew right in and then had to come straight to the venue, but like there was a delay in the production. So, you know, by the time everybody was done their sound checks, but then the sound checks had to be done before meet and greet going. Like the Agonists had like just finished their sound check, like as the VIPs were being let in. So, which basically they were going to do the VIPs, and then we were going to go and have like a 15-minute sound check or something like that, like just to kind of like dial everything in. And you know, we wound up doing our sound check in front of the VIP meet and greet people like that, because after they're done the meet and greet, they're all just hanging around. They find their seats, and you know, some of them rush in front. So a funny kind of byproduct of that was it almost helped me, because being able to sound check in front of people put my anxiety at ease a little bit. Yeah. So it actually helped make me a lot more comfortable. So like I'm really happy that it accidentally went down the way it did, because you know, had we had sound checked and I had just been backstage for an hour stewing in my anxiety, like you know, things might have gone a lot worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no,
it was like sound check, get off the stage, 20 minutes later we were back on. So it was like, okay, cool, like it's still fresh in my mind, and you know, I was feeling all right about it.
Yeah, man, that was that sounds freaking incredible though. But like I guess the other thing we could talk about that was also, even though you guys hadn't done anything new recently, correct me if I'm wrong, was it 2018 or 2019 you guys released your new album? Was it your third album? Storm.
Storm?
Yeah, what that was released 2018 or 2019?
No, 2020.
Oh,
like,
really?
It came out the day of that Epica show.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess tell us a bit about how did the process for that go? Like, I know you got a few guests on there. You got like Lindsay from Cradle of Filth and Pierre from Scar Symmetry. Like, so how did that all come together?
Well, I mean, the record's been kind of like, the record was kind of like sitting on a hard drive for a long time because we didn't know what we wanted to do as a band for quite a while. So, you know, when the band was still active and we were still touring, you know, we completed most of the principal tracking and some of the mixing too, even then. And so when we took our hiatus and we were like, well, we don't know what to do with this record right now. We don't know if whether or not we're going to wind up putting this out on a label or if we're going to tour again. Do we want to tour again? Do we want to get back into this the mix and try to make it back onto the international scene? So for the years that we were just, you know, in limbo, the record just kind of sat there. And you know, and we had already gotten all the guests and stuff like that was already done like way before. Like we'd already gotten from Scar Symmetry and Nocturnal Rights to do his stuff, and we'd already got Lindsay had already come to the studio like years earlier. So and that was kind of one of the main, that was like part of a motivator to get the album out in general, was because, you know, we had this piece of art, you know, this thing that we'd worked on for so long, and it felt really awful that we would just kind of let it sit around for as long as we did. And that's it. Like, I mean, we all kind of collectively needed a kick at the pants and like something to motivate us to get back on and to put the album out. So actually, when Epica's manager did call us up and sent or shot us a message and was like, "Hey, would you guys be interested in doing this one-off show like with the you know, Epica in January?" That for us was like a perfect opportunity, you know, to go like, okay, well, if we're gonna do this show, then we might as well put this record out too. So then we kind of like kicked it back into high gear. You know, we finished the mixing of it and got it ready and, you know, got it ready to put out. Like, and it's, you know, it was the putting out the record for us was like, we just want to give this to our fans. That's it, you know, like for the people that have followed us for all the years and through all the touring and whatnot, because we didn't do a ton of promo for the album either. Like it was, and the record only came out digitally. We're probably going to put it out, you know, I say we're probably going to put it out physically. It's out digitally and anybody can listen to it and like at any time online. And I wanted just for everybody that was waiting for it to be able to listen to it. You know, like I wasn't so much interested in making new fans as I was just giving this to the people that already loved it, you know, that already appreciated what we've done and liked our music.
Yeah, it was like a love letter to the fans, pretty much.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm not like personally, and I don't think anybody in the band is really interested in trying to like be a big band anymore. It's like, no, you know what, like we did it, like, you know, in the sense that not that we ever became a big band, we became a moderately successful one in the sense that, yes, we toured, we got on high profile tours, we've done very cool things, we got to tour Europe, we've got to, you know, go play in Mexico, we got to, you know, play with some of our heroes and be on tour with the bands that we grew up listening to. So from a career standpoint, I feel like I kind of got the best out of, like, I got the best out of this career that I could have hoped for, and I didn't get an STD, I didn't develop a drug problem, so like I didn't go into too much ridiculous debt, although there definitely I was definitely poor for the majority of that time, but you know, I was rich in experience. So that was rich in experience and friendship, and that's what, and like for me, looking back, like that's what counts. You know, like I don't want to sit and lament about like, oh, how things could have been done differently. It's just like, no, man, it happened the way it happened, and I'm grateful for every single second.
Yeah, and you guys had like an incredible career. Like I remember, just as a small aside before I go into this story I was about to tell. Is anybody who's still watching, if you have any questions for Paul or myself, then please leave them in the comments. But
hi, Sarah.
So I guess it's funny because because I remember back when you guys were doing the heavy touring, I remember I was actually still in high school. I was in like middle school, high school, and I think I've told you this story before, but for all of you who are watching, is I remember going to Heavy MTL. It was my very first Heavy MTL. I dragged my dad to bring me there. It was at like, I think, was it 20? I think it was 2014. It was the year that it was. I think it was.
I have a big poster somewhere. It's not.
Oh yeah, and it was the year that Avenged Sevenfold headlined. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and I remember.
Yeah, I think so.
And I have a very vivid memory of. I went there mainly for Megadeth because that was like my favorite band when I was in high school, and I remember during some of the time there was like a gap in between the bands that we wanted to see, so we started walking around and we go to the far stage. And we see you guys, and we stayed and watched you guys, and then I thought, oh wow, these guys are amazing. And then years later, we do the Vakken battle here in Ottawa, and we find out you're one of the judges. I'm like, I remember him. That's the guy from Heavy MTL.
The dude from that band.
That's the guy from that band. The dude from that band from Heavy MTL. Yeah, and that's kind of like it's pretty much like the hilarious story of how I just discovered you guys walking around Heavy MTL, going to the far stage and seeing you guys. I was just like,
I think that's how most people discover bands around Heavy MTL. Just like, well, I'm just gonna walk around.
Yeah, like some people will have like a little schedule, but then usually like, if there's a big gap, they'll just go see whoever. And that's happened like the last Heavy MTL. Like for me, I remember seeing, because there was nothing else, I remember going to see Vatain, and I'm not even a black metal fan.
Dude, oh my God, that was one of the best sets I've ever seen. Because it was like, it was just getting dark out, and they're set, and like, you can't see a black metal band in the daytime, or you can, but like, because it was like, just like the sun had just set when Watain started. They had such an amazing, they had all their stage props, and like the musical backdrop was just, I was like a little bit high. Like I think I'd taken like a puff of a joint, and I was just vibing on the music so hard, and I just had this shit-eating grin, just like smiling at the back, just like taking just the evilness of it.
It was funny because for me and my friends, we didn't know what we were gonna do at that point, because I think that day, I think it was the first day, and we had already seen, I think the main band we went to see that was Gamma Ray, and we already saw Gamma Ray at that point, and we're like, well, because I'll be completely honest, we didn't really care about the headliners that year, so we're like, nah, we're gonna miss Ghost, whatever. And then, but we had a choice between either Evanescence or Vatain, and we were thinking about seeing Evanescence just for like the meme, I guess.
Yeah.
But then
the nostalgia.
And then, but afterwards, we're like, no, let's go see Vatain. And I don't even like black metal that much personally, but we were in the front, like we were like right at the front, and I remember just seeing the 5 of them walk on stage, and their lead singer had the big like torch, and I remember when he lit like the stage props on fire, and then he threw the torch into the crowd. A big hole opened up, so everybody's like, "Oh shit!" And then like I remember the crowd had to pass the torch to the security guy to go put it out. They almost burnt someone, and then at that moment, I'm like, "Oh man, we're in for some fucked up shit right now."
Yeah,
and
I've seen the best sets on that stage, and they're always right around the same time, like right when the sun is setting at that wood stage. Or the Galaxy stage, or whatever it is. And like, I don't know if you were at the year when Cryptopsy had all 3 of their or all 3, there's 4, but like, or they had Mike DeSalvo, Lord Worm, and Matt was singing, and like that. So each one of them kind of came in and took turns doing songs, and it was like the most powerful performance I'd ever seen. It was great because I had my brother, I had Dave with me. And Dave's not much of like a tech death fan, and I was like, no, like this is gonna be ridiculous. And he's just like, okay. And we were watching it, and he's just like, I don't understand what the fuck is going on, but it's incredible. Whatever the hell they're doing, it's insane. And Cryptopsy had Yuri from Unhuman playing. I think he was playing bass. I don't remember if he was playing guitar or playing bass at the time, but he was doing backup vocals, and Yuri is an insane. Yeah, he can contort his vocals in like the weirdest ways. One of the best death metal singers on the planet, and like so that combination at the time of those individuals was just out of this world. No. Yuri was playing guitar. Yuri was playing second guitar. So you have Chris Donaldson, Yuri playing guitar. You have Fetus playing bass, who's one of the best death metal bass players ever. Like Matt and Flo, and then you had the two guest like the former Cryptopsy vocals coming in and out. Man, that's it. That was like, you could call that peak Crypto.
It was sort of like Pumpkins United, but for Cryptopsy.
Yes,
pretty much.
Exactly.
Yeah, that sounds. I actually really like how a lot of bands are doing that now, because the fans will always like bands like Halloween and stuff like that. Bands will like complain for years, but like, oh, where's this vocalist and where's this vocalist? We're like, you know what? We're gonna get all of them.
Yeah. Well, when you're a legacy band like that, if you're an act that's been around for 20 or 30 years, and yeah, you've been through significant member changes or you've lost significant members, like, I mean, technically Cryptopsy's like none, like, they're not like, except for Flo, everybody's been different, but like, you could definitely argue that they're stronger now than they've ever been in their entire fucking career.
Yeah.
But like, for bands like that, for bands like Cryptopsy and like Gamma Ray and whatever, it's like, you know what, if any one of those bands want to say like, well, we're doing a tour just on this classic record, or we're gonna bring old school members to come in, like, why not?
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, I feel like especially for legacy bands who have played for decades at this point, how do you keep getting the fans how do you keep the fans from coming back and coming back and coming back?
Yeah.
You have to create an appeal, and it's not always just going to be a new record. It's like, if anything, especially after you've come out with, like, you have a catalog of like 8, 9, 10 records, it's like, okay, you just doing a mix, doing like, various versions of a best of doesn't really cut it anymore, or, it kind of does, but it's still stale because it's still what people have seen or heard over and over and over again. So there's always going to be that challenge to try to get people to come to the shows, and like, bands, especially of bigger sizes that, rely on touring, when you have to take longer and longer breaks between doing tours or doing markets, but you still rely on that tour revenue, it's like, you got to get creative with how do you get people to get through get through those gates and buy that merch.
Yeah, were you at that Halloween show in Montreal?
I was.
Yeah, that was
crazy.
That was one of the best shows I've ever been to. I remember I actually remember getting to the venue, and my friend Richard, who I don't think he has Instagram, but if he did, he'd be on right now. He found us, and he came running up to me, my friend. He goes, guys, freaking Marcus, the bass player, is at the back just talking to fans. We're like, wait, what? And then we go around, we talk with him, and then literally a few minutes later, out of a little shuttle bus comes Michael Kiske, and we're all like,
oh yeah,
holy shit. And I remember it was one of the funniest things. I remember he got swarmed. Like, there was like 10 of us in the back just hanging around. He got swarmed, and the security guard does the typical security guard thing, goes, no, he's not signing anything, no. And then Michael Kiske, like, literally just puts his hand on his shoulder and goes, and then signs everything, takes pictures with everybody. And I even remember going up to him, shaking and being like, oh man, you're like, I'm a singer too, and you're like one of my heroes, whatever. And he was just like the coolest dude. He was just like, hell yeah, man, and like, props to me.
Dude, I love it when people are chill that way. So I have a similar story. I have kind of a similar story where years ago, and I mean, and it's not a metal band, but anything like that. But me, my brother, and my sister, we did a road trip to somewhere in Massachusetts to go see Social Distortion play.
Oh yeah.
Social's one of my favorite bands of all time. Like, it's like one of my childhood bands.
I love Social.
And like, so we're like, let's do a road trip. It'll be a fun family thing. So we go, we drive, we go to see the show, and then at the end of the gig, we're like, well, let's like fuck it, like let's wait out back and see if we can't meet somebody. Why the hell not? So we go to like back where the bus is or stuff like that, and we're kind of hanging out, and like there's you know there's like 30 people kind of like hanging out kind of thing, and I'm like, oh man, there's no way, like there's no fucking way that we're gonna be able to meet anybody. And then Mike Ness Mike Ness's tour manager comes out and he like addresses the crowd. He goes just like, all right, everybody make one line against the wall. Mike's going to sign and take pictures with all of you. Just please be respectful, you know, and just, you know, wait your turn.
Yeah.
And sure as shit, he did. He came out, signed everybody's autographs, took pictures with everybody. And it was like it's like one of the coolest things. Like, you know, a guy, you know, especially after playing a show for 2 hours, just like, Jesus Christ, man, he really took the time to fucking to you know, stick it with his fans and like hang out with everybody. So like all the respect to him.
Yeah, I love when people do that. Like even from that same show from Halloween, another funny story was after the show, because since I remember we went back around and we saw all of Halloween pile into a shuttle bus except for one, and it was Kai Hansen. Actually, he was the only one that didn't and we're just like, he's still in there. Like we've already met Kiski, we've met Marcus, and my friend goes across the street, and as you know, in the back of Tellus, there's a balcony, right?
Yeah. Out there having a smoke.
Yeah, he was on the balcony having a smoke, and my friend has a plan. He's like, my friend Josh. So if you're watching this later, Josh, what's up, bud? He what he does is he goes, how can I get him to come down here? So he looks around again. There wasn't very many of us in the back. There's maybe like 10 of us again. And he looks, and there was a kid there who caught one of the volleyballs that they threw into the crowd. He caught one,
yeah, right.
And he had it, and he was like holding on to it like this, you know, like he's a little kid, right? And so what my friend did was he quickly looked up on his phone like an English to German translator, and he yells at Kai, goes, Kai, das und Kinder, and then Kai kind of looks down and goes, and he kind of like fumbles. He goes, oh, I'll be down there in a second. And then he comes out, he talks to this kid and signs his volleyball, whatever. And then in turn, he came and talked to all of us. And he was another one that he was really chill as well.
Nice.
Yeah,
I've met a lot of cool people like right around like in the back of that back alley of Tellus, man.
Oh,
I met
yeah,
Dimebag there. Yeah, like I think it was like weeks before he got shot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was on that Damage Plan. Yeah, it was that Damage Plan tour. Was it? Yeah, I think so. I think it was on that same tour that I met him back there.
Yeah, the only other person I met behind the Tellus was after King Diamond. I met not King, but I met Andy LaRocque, which was that's cool. Awesome. And because we have a friend of ours in Ottawa named Matteo Bacci. He's like this Italian guy, and any black metal band name, he knows them like personally. Like it's weird. Like he goes to Norway every year to visit all these guys, and they're all friends. And he stays at their house and stuff like that. Like he knows guys from Emperor and stuff like that. And so my joke is when Mateo's at a show and he's in the back, you're gonna meet somebody because he knows somebody, right? And
so just stay around his.
And we go there, and one of the stage crew said, "Oh, King has already left." Blah blah. We're like, "Oh, figures." And then
I bet he gets funneled out right after his
set.
I bet he doesn't even stay in there. I bet he's like right off stage, right into a cab. Right to the hotel.
And then what happened was, literally we're there 5 minutes. Andy LaRocque turns the corner, and then he's like, "Oh, hey guys, what's up?" And then we like talk with Andy LaRocque for a bit. He signs all of our stuff. So we have a comment here actually. From Wolfwood15, nicest dude I've met after a show was Devin Townsend and Andrew WK. Never had a bad experience meeting them over 50 times. Yeah, I've heard Devin's like...
Devin's amazing. Devin's probably the nicest guy on the goddamn planet. I met him a bunch of times, like when I was much younger, when he was still touring with Strapping Young Lad.
Yeah.
And holy shit, man. Like him and his whole crew too. Like I remember like I got kind of buds with one of his stage techs, and like who I saw him again like a couple weeks after a show. I saw him at a festival in the New England Hardcore Metal Fest. Actually, this is one of the best. Like, holy shit, man! It was like one of the funniest stories for me was like from this stage guy. So like there was a festival in Montreal that I was working crew at, and Strapping was headlining that gig, the Obey the Flame Fest. Got to hang out with them, got to meet Dev, and like super nice guy. And then I kind of became, you know, friendly with one of their. His name escapes me now because it was like 20 years ago. Like became sort of friendly with one of their techs. And then I was at the New England Hardcore Metal Fest like 2 weeks later, and that whole tour, or like the tour that had been to the festival in Montreal, was also there. So Strapping was there. And at the end of one of the gigs, it was like close to the end of the night of one of the nights. So like I go to walk by where all the buses are, and let's just say the guy's name was like Sean, you know, just for the sake of the conversation.
Yeah.
We're like, I'm kind of walking by the buses, and like I kind of think I see him, and I'm just like, yo, Sean. And the figure kind of looks at me and goes like, Paul, what the fuck? Come on over here, man. And I'm like 17 or 18 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, and so he grabs me, and like there's a bunch of people kind of like hanging out, like the one of the trailer doors is open from one of the buses for one of the trailer. Yeah, so one of the trailer doors is open from the buses. And in there is like fucking there's like one of the dudes from Full Blown Chaos is there. There's a bunch of people from a ton of other bands. Jamie Josta shows up at one point.
Wow.
Gene Hoglan's there, and it's funny because like so the tech guy pulls me up a seat on a cooler, like right in the trailer. He's just like, "What are you drinking, man?" I'm just like, "I don't know." Hands me a beer. Gene Hoglan's to my right. He's like, "Dude," like it's like here, like, and like hands me a bottle of vodka. Just like, "Yeah, have a swig of that." I'm just like, he had just quit drinking, so he was just pouring drinks for people.
Oh my god!
It's
Wow.
insane. So I'm just there going like, "Holy shit, this is crazy," you know. Like, like it sucks that it's so long that my memory's fuzzy about it. But like one of the funniest things that happened was that like at one point, fucking Jamie Josta from Hatebreed comes around the corner and he goes like, "What the fuck's up? Yo, I heard Lord Worm from Cryptopsy's here." And I'm just like, holy shit! Like,
oh man,
so like, yeah, that's it. I was just like a little piss ass fan at that time, and it was great being in the company of so many.
Yeah, I haven't.
People.
This might be kind of blasphemy for me to say this as like a huge prog nerd, but I've never seen Devin yet. I need to, and I haven't listened to a lot of his stuff yet. But that's like on my list of like everyone loves Devin Townsend, so I'm just like, okay, I need to listen to that stuff. So I think I've actually, from what you were saying, I had two things I actually wanted to ask you about. The first one is I don't remember if you told this to me, like whenever we were like hanging out at a show, or I heard this somewhere else. But would you mind regaling our viewers with your Werrell Dane story when you jumped?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I forgot if you told me that or if I heard it somewhere else. But
I want to tell. Yeah, I want to tell two. I'm going to tell two stories. Okay.
All right.
One's a Werrell Dane story, and the other one is an Epica story because I think they're both funny.
Oh,
and
boy.
They're somewhat. Okay, so the theme of both these stories is meeting the singer for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like, so the story with Werrell Dane. So when we were on tour with Nevermore that one time, the tour that almost never, that tour only happened for us because Roy Khan quit Camelot.
Really?
Yeah, no, because we were starting a tour. No, this is what's fucked up. We were starting a tour with Camelot, and literally on the drive to Florida, where the tour was starting, Roy quits. So we're on the phone, and we're messaging our booking agent, our manager, going like, "Yo, I don't know what the fuck's. We have no idea what's happening," and we're just like, okay, like, do we keep driving to Florida? He's just like, yeah, like, keep going. Like, we got put on Prog Power.
Yeah, that's actually the other thing that's actually it's funny you mentioned Prog Power, because that's actually the second thing I was going to ask you about. So I guess
okay, well, we can talk about Prog Power too. Yeah.
Yeah, so
should I tell these stories, or should we talk about Prog Power first?
I think you're already halfway through, so I say tell these stories, then get into Prog Power.
Well, okay. Well, listen. So the Nevermore. Just do the Nevermore story. So the Nevermore story is basically like, okay, so we start the tour with Nevermore, and like super fucking friendly guys, but what tends to happen is there's always like one or two members that you don't really meet right off the bat, you know, and people that aren't so friendly. Like, not say, don't want to say not so friendly, but like typically speaking, you know, especially if it's a bigger band, the singer is going to be the one that's mostly secluded, that's not hanging out as much. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So we were like a couple of days into the tour, I think, like not very long, but like maybe like 2 or 3 days when I don't remember what city we were in, and like I was outside hanging out by the buses. I was talking with Van Williams, the drummer for Nevermore. So like we were already familiar at the time, and like we were with some of the guys from Hate Spirit, some of the guys from Warbringer, and everybody's chit chatting and whatnot. It's the middle of the day, and I think like we're right by the Nevermore bus, and then like the window opens to the back lounge, and Whirl kind of pops his head out and just like kind of like surveys the area and kind of is like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" Just kind of very jokingly or whatnot. And I don't know, like so we're like, "Hey, Whirl, like, yo, what's up? Like, how's it going?" He's like, and you know, just kind of grizzled doing something or other. Now I don't remember how we got to this point, but all I remember was like I think he challenged me, or I was like, I like saying that like I was gonna come up there and get him or something like that to come and hang out with us. So basically, and I think he was just like, "Well, come up if you can." And I just, since the window was open, I just jumped up, like grabbed the open windowsill, and then hoisted myself into his back lounge. And this is the kind of stunt that could have gotten so many people thrown off tours, like in a goddamn instant.
Yeah.
Like that could have been disastrous. But I'm sure if it was bad, like if he really didn't like it, he would have just been like, yo, don't do that. Like, stop that shit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But so like anyway, so I hoist myself up, and I'm next thing you know, I'm in the back lounge of the bus, and I'm just like, "Hey man, how's it going? I'm Paul. Like, nice to meet you." And we just fucking start chatting, and he's just like, you know, like hands me a drink, and like he was listening to music. He's like, "Oh, what you listening to?" It's like, okay, so just kind of like check out and chit chat. And we had and that was like our first official meeting, was just me randomly climbing into the back of his bus and saying hi to him. And you know, and he was super chill. And like I think after that meeting, like I think he started coming out and hanging out with people a little bit more, and he wasn't so secluded. And like, I mean, that's when the tour kind of like, there's always that point, like unless you already know everybody, and I think everybody on the tour didn't really know one another. So like, you know, it takes a couple of days before like the camaraderie really happens.
Yeah.
Everybody's familiar, everybody's joking and hanging out with each other. So not long after that, it was like, you know, it felt comfortable, it felt like a nice rolling family. So then my Epica story, almost the exact same situation. The Epica cats, man, day one, they were out saying hi to everybody, chit-chatting. Like we became like, you know, that tour, everybody got tight like really fast. So it was great. And it was Threat Signal, us, and Epica, you know, and we already kind of knew some of the Threat Signal cats. I think we'd done a couple shows with them, like one-offs, like not touring or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so like, and you know, we're all Canadian too, so right away we're just like, yeah, poutine, you know, shit like that, and maple syrup. So the Epica cats, like everybody except for Simone is hanging out immediately, and like we're all like, hey, how's it going? Everybody's super friendly. It's awesome. So days, fucking weeks go into the tour. Like I think like at least a good solid week or two, week and a half or something like that. And and like, you know, we've seen Simone. She comes out and she kind of like, you know, she does and plays a show, and then she goes and chills out of the bus, or she's got her backstage, and like she wasn't very approachable at the time, I guess. It's okay, or I never really felt comfortable. Like she's never hanging around long enough to like, you know, there was never an official introduction or anything.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Epica with their new album Omega out today.
Oh yeah, it is out today. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So we're in. So I remember this. Like, so Epica were doing meet and greets every day, and we're in Winnipeg. I think we were in Winnipeg at a venue over there, and they're doing their meet and greets, and I'm like, their meet and greets are done like right up, you know, in front of their merch tables. Pretty much everybody just funnels in, they sign, then take photos. So I'm just like, I'm hanging back, and I'm just like, I'm, you know, seeing people kind of come in, and it's coming to the end of the line, and I'm just like, fuck it, and I go into line. So with all the meet and greets. So and Simone's the last one in line. So I'm shaking everybody's hands. I'm like whipping my tits out and going like, here, it's like sign my tits, sign my chest, and like so the guys are having a ball with it because we're already familiar, and like this is fucking hilarious to them. So then, you know, I get all the dudes to sign my tits, and we get to Simone. I'm just like, stick out my hand, or I'm just like, hi, I'm Paul, like I'm the singer of Blackguard, like, you know, this very nice to meet you. And then and everybody just busts out. So I was just like, I just wanted to introduce myself, like, nice to meet you, Simone. Like, Paul. And anyways, I mean, since then, you know, we've been more than familiar. It's been great. Like, she's a wonderful woman, and like we've done like another like 2 tours with them and countless shows and countless
it's
great people.
Yeah, it's true. Like I remember because that's one thing I have heard from people, because again, I've yet to see Epica, but that's one thing I've heard from people who have met Simone, is that she's someone that she's very nice, but she just seems really unapproachable too, which is like, but yeah, no, but that's like those, I didn't realize, I knew the Werrell Dane story, but I didn't know that. So that was freaking just incredible. Just like, hey, sign my tits. By the way, I'm the singer from Blackguard.
Yeah. Oh man, hold on. I gotta shout. Who is this? Rusticus Beardicus. Paul, you look like Jason Statham in his younger years. That's the biggest compliment I've ever gotten, and I've been like, in my head, I'm like, if I could petition Guy Ritchie to cast me in a Guy Ritchie film where I'm like a younger, or Jason Statham's son, that'd be the greatest thing on the planet.
Well, actually, I actually didn't realize this, because for some reason the chat wasn't updating for me over here. So I'm just seeing some of these, and yeah. You do look like.
So,
any stories from
15? Any Ailstorm story? Ailstorm stories. There's one, and I don't know if I can say it. Like, and I don't know if I'm making it out to be worse than it is. Okay. Oh shit. God damn it.
Well, maybe
I mean, those cats are they're fucking they're both crazy and the most subdued people I've ever.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, you don't have to tell them. If you don't feel comfortable telling the horror story, just give us like a TLDR with a little bit of like hinting if you want, or.
I feel like no matter what I say, can kind of some sleuth can kind of put it together.
Okay.
You know what? So there's some stories, but like the Ailstorm cats are like, man, nothing too crazy with them. Like,
see, CSD Vinyl Reviews. Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no, I can't. Aside from like this one crazy thing that happened, like not really, because I didn't do like an extensive tour with Ailstorm. I don't think I did an extensive tour with Ailstorm. I did like a small 5-date window with them in Epica and Insomnium and System Divide. So it was like right before we went to Europe. Boom, there you go. It was right before we went to Europe and did the solo European thing. So we didn't get a chance to like really fucking get crazy with those guys or anything like that. But man, I don't know. I've heard they're fun. No, they're fun.
We have Rusty from Profaner in the chat. What's up, man? It's been a while.
Rusty Profaner. Oh wait. Oh, that's Rusticus Beardicus. Yeah, what's up, Rust? Making killing the spray look like industry or porn. Oh, I've thought about doing variations of porn. Like I had a buddy that did jerky cam shit, and he apparently got paid quite a bit of money.
Oh yeah, really?
Maybe I could do that. Yeah.
Jeez. So I guess we have about like 10 minutes left or so. So
okay. Well, you were going to ask about Prog Power.
Yeah, because I think you probably have some Prog Power stories, and I do too, because the most recent one was the most recent one was the first one I ever went to, and it was probably like one of the most amazing experiences of my life, just because I don't know if I've told you this story yet, dude, like maybe I have, but it turns out that I actually was one of 2 fans in the entire festival. I was staying in the same hotel as all the bands were. And
oh, really?
Yeah, it was crazy, because what happened was I went with me and my dad went, and my dad said like, oh, I'm gonna come with you, but you go do your own thing, and I'm gonna do my thing, because there's like some of the
you get to hang around shitty Atlanta.
yeah, pretty much. No,
Atlanta's not that shitty. Just the area that the Prog Power is at is kind of shitty.
Yeah, but pretty much what happened was my dad was like, okay, I found all these touristy stuff I'm gonna do. So, and I remember when we got there, like the hotel, like the night before, we're downstairs eating dinner in the lobby, and I see Insomnium walk into the hotel, and then shortly afterwards, Sanctuary walks in, and I'm like, this is the hotel fans are staying at. And throughout the entire weekend, I met, because you know at Prog Power, they do like the meet and greets. I didn't go to half of them because I already met them. Like I see them walking in, and I made friends with this guy named Scott, who was like one of the, who was one of the sponsors for some of the bands. Like who, like, and so yeah, like I met Insomnium, and I met, and Sanctuary, and I met, who else was there? The big one for me was Galnarius, the band from Japan. They were at the same hotel.
Cool, yeah.
They were at the same hotel as me, and it was so weird, like being in the same area with all these bands. And I literally at the festival, if I was like talking to someone, I'd actually be flexing it. I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm staying at the same hotel the band," and then all the fans like, "Where?" They're like, "Where?" And I'm like, "I'm not saying."
Oh man.
I'm not saying.
Yeah, I got a couple of good because we only did it that one time, and we officially took Tier's spot. So that Tier was supposed to play, they dropped off for whatever reason, and then we got thrown on because otherwise we would have had a day off because we were still supposed to be on that Camelot tour, that Camelot Leaves Eyes tour. So that whole fucking set or that date was insane because we go to the show. So the Camelot tour gets canceled, or the Camelot tour officially gets canceled. But they're like, we're still going to play. Camelot's like, we're still going to play Prog Power. So what they do is they get the singer for Circus Maximus.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Yes. So in order for that to even work, they had to get they had to have a teleprompter on stage for him to be able to get, because it was like 3 days notice in advance. It was ridiculous. So basically, like Cam pull it off, kind of. But yeah, the Circus Maximus singer was basically just like, I mean, obviously it wasn't a great performance because he just learned the lyrics and is reading some of the lyrics and probably fudging some of the melodies and whatnot. So it was pretty fucked up. I mean, for me, my experience was amazing because I got to see Nocturnal Rites, which was like one of my favorite fucking power metal bands of all time there.
Oh, man.
But another funny thing was that was the show that Camelot, I guess like Tommy Youngblood was like basically on the hunt for a new singer like right away. So who else was playing that weekend? Fucking
Seventh Wonder. Seventh Wonder one.
They snuck Tommy real fucking fast. They were like, who's that young cat with the amazing pipes? And they got him in, who knows how much, who knows how long. It was months, probably like a half a year or a year in the making, but like, Tom Youngblood had fucking locked eyes with him and was just like, this is our man. Well, I mean, we did an embarrassing autograph signing because like all the bands do meet and greet. So like it was even better. It was even funnier because like there was like two bands going at the same time and like the tables were, kind of spaced from each other. But it was basically the line for the I think it might have been Seventh Wonder actually. Let's just say it was for the sake of the conversation, but the line for Seventh Wonder was so long it basically passed by our table where there was nobody waiting to get to meet and greet us. So we're just sitting there at our table staring at everybody waiting in line to get autographs from Seventh Wonder. Blackguard has like the worst fucking luck when it comes to meet and greets. Like nobody gives a fuck about meeting us. So that's fun.
Yeah, well, I actually have a pretty funny when I went because this past year is when Seventh Wonder was one of the headliners, right? I had a pretty funny story about because their meet and greet line was typically really long, and I remember being in it, and I remember they were really cool in the sense that because some of the bands had like a time limit, like only 1 hour, blah blah. Seventh Wonder all said they're like, yeah, we're not leaving until we've signed everybody's stuff and all that. And I still remember, and it's because their guitar player, I go up to him and I start chatting with him, and he goes, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Oh, I came all the way from Canada to see you." And then he's sitting next to Tommy Kervick. At this point, I'm already kind of like, you know, and he nudges Tommy Kervick and he goes, "Oh, well, our singer's going to be a Canadian soon, so why don't you tips, all right?" And I just said, "Eat lots of poutine, bud. Just do that." And again, like, there was that festival was because I met Tommy and I met Hansi, and both times I'm like,
oh, nice.
I met two of my heroes, and they were both sick. And Tommy was very, like, I could tell he wasn't talking much because I could tell he was like saving himself for the show. But like, I could tell all the band members were just picking on him the whole time. Like their guitar player especially was just kind of nudging him a lot, being like, "Hey, bud, hey, Yeah, but and then the other fun thing that happened at that show was I don't know if you know them, but one of the bands that they had there that was one of the more like was Subsignal from Germany. They're like a prog band from Germany. Weirdest thing ever, I got to drink with them at the hotel because my friend Scott was the one who sponsored them. And there was like in the hotel, there was like a barrier, and behind the barrier, there was a table. And I see Scott, he's like, "Hey, James, come over here, man." And I look, and then there's Subsignal. And he goes, "James, this is Subsignal." So I'm like, hi. And we hung out for hours and hours, and we still try and I still keep in touch with them to this day. So I always find that, like, if any of you watching, not only just if you're a fan of like power metal or melodic metal, but if anybody is in a band and wants like the ultimate networking place, that's the place.
Oh man, it was insane, man. Like the amount of people that you met, like we got booked the same hotel. We were in like the band hotel or whatever, like when we played, and like you know, I got to meet Marco from Nightwish because Tero was playing.
Oh, yeah, Tero was the same.
Yeah. So that was pretty fun, and like, but the highlight, like the absolute highlight of that was going to a strip club with Nightwish's management at the end of the night. we went to a strip club called Tattletales, and it was great because like I went and I was wearing my tour wear, which is just like, it was a t-shirt with cut off sleeves, and they stopped me at the door and they're like, "You can't come in because you have to wear sleeves." So then my manager bought me a fucking shirt of the strip club just to wear, and all they had was like XL. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. So whatever we go in.
I think you got some love in the comments right now, actually.
By Bone Thing. Damn, I miss Blackguard. Y'all were one of my absolute favorite bands to see. Thanks for being incredible, nice. When I met you in Baltimore at the Hatch and Jeff Loomis tour. That was an amazing tour. Like, and thank you very much.
Yeah, and he played on a CD release.
My dad keeps asking me if he's allowed to get you. Oh, that's fucking awesome. I'm really sorry that like it's been like, it's on the back of our priority list to put it out on CD, but so many people are asking, and there's really no reason why we shouldn't. We're just really lazy at this point. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, I'm sorry, I'm being completely honest here. We're just like, we're living our lives right now. So it's like, listen, I promise you. Okay, I'm gonna make a concerted effort to get to actually like legitimately put this out on CD for everybody. So again, like, thanks a lot for tuning in and messaging us. So thank you, Bone Theory.
And man, I want it personally too. So yeah, but
I want to find a lot of B-side tracks that never got put on, so we can make it like a double album or something like that. Like, here's Storm, and here's a bunch of unreleased shit that we never put out.
Or maybe
there's a record, dude. There's a Blackguard record that never got released because the whole thing got scrapped.
Oh, really?
He wrote a record, scrapped the record, and then wrote Firefight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know. It's somewhere. It's somewhere on somebody's hard drive, or somebody's got the CD, and I have no idea where the fuck it is.
That's sick. And then like maybe even as like a bonus track, like do like some since I know this is like popular now, do some weird cover maybe or something.
Oh, we did a cover of Rainbow in the Dark, Dio.
Really?
And we did Highway Star. Yeah.
Really? In your guys' style. That's sweet.
Yeah. It's there. It's somewhere. It's like
someone has it.
it's in a basement somewhere on the USB stick. I don't fucking know anymore.
Man,
Yeah.
right. Well, it's 8:30, so I think I'm gonna call it. But thank you so much for coming, man. It was fun. Yeah, it's been a long time since we chatted, so it was great to
Yeah.
dude. So
Well, thanks a lot for inviting me over, man. I appreciate it.
yeah, of course, man. It was a pleasure, and it was great to hear because I knew you'd be a good person for the series because you have so many stories to tell and stuff like that. So many hilarious stuff. So I guess in closing, for those of you still watching, follow Paul, follow us, and on Instagram. And that was the first week of the Wolfpack live stream series. I'll be announcing the next 3 guests tomorrow, probably. So stay tuned for that.
All right.
Cool. All right.
Night, everyone. Cheers, bud.
Cheers, bud.
See you later.